This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, February 27th, 2006, and this is episode number 67 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. On the panel today, we have one Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Adam Zielinski, you put that theater back where you found it right now, young man.
Cue that little effect with your feet that make the mice run by.
Ah.
And we've also got Len Testa, co-author of The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
My siestas are getting shorter and shorter.
Oh, are you ripping Mike Scopa off?
Where's my lawyer? Where's my lawyer?
Exactly. I haven't done it in so long I felt like doing it. Actually, I'm looking at a review of the Enchanted Tiki Room that someone sent in, so
okay.
I'll throw that in.
And we have Mike Newell of MouseWorldRadio.com. Welcome, Mike.
Just out of breath, running in from Spamalot. Literally just made it on time for the show. Thank you.
Great. It's always good to have you here, Mike. And,
Thank you. I am honored.
And before we get started today, quick note, we are still looking for logos for Walt Disney World today. We're looking to start merchandising because, as Yogurt said in Spaceballs, the merchandising is where the real money is. So if we... But unfortunately, none of us have any artistic talent at all. We're just... We never got
just good looking.
Yeah. Something like that. So... I'd like to thank Rich from Youngstown, Kai Dean of Manchester, United Kingdom, Betsy and Bill. Betsy, and then Bill. They're not married or anything. Bill Thomas of Northampton, Pennsylvania, for sending us some great entries, and we're looking for some more. So if you have your own Walt Disney World Today logos you'd like to send in, email us at matt@waltdisneyworldtoday.com, and we will. What we're going to do is we're going to aggregate all these logos, and we're going to display them, and we're going to pick one to put on a shirt and other various merchandise. So we thank those who've sent in, and we look forward to seeing the others. And before we get started today, also, we wanted to mention some news, quote-unquote, is that you can now start booking suites at the All-Star Resorts. Is that right, Mike?
That is correct, Matt. I think starting this week, you can now book one of the All-Star Music Family Suites. These suites are available at the Calypso and the Jazz buildings at All-Star Music. There are approximately 192 of these units. Each one, they have all new furniture. It's 520 square feet. The suites include 2 full baths. You've got a kitchen with a microwave. You've got a 4.3 cubic foot refrigerator. Obviously, you've got a sink. They give you a coffee or a teapot with refillable amenities. You've got some cabinet space. The main bedroom has a queen bed and a 27-inch flat-screen television. The second room has a double sleeper sofa. It has a convertible twin chair sleeper. It has a convertible twin ottoman. There's some storage space. They will be offering high-speed internet access for a fee, and I think it's $9 or $10 a day. I'm not too sure about that. It's non-smoking only, and everyone's probably saying, okay, Mike, get to the price, get to the price. I believe for value season, the price will be $169. I believe that's before tax.
Yeah, before tax. Yeah.
Before tax. Regular season is $209. Peak season is $239, and holiday season is $259. So those are the prices, and I guess the next question would be, how does this compare with comparable rooms in other areas on the resort? And Len, I'm going to ask you if you can make a comparison here.
In terms of square footage, this is among the largest on Disney property. The only thing that really comes close is the Fort Wilderness Campground cabins. And those are just over 500 square feet. I think like 504.
How much do those go for, Len?
That's a thing. For value season, the cabins themselves go for like $239 a night versus $169 for the All-Star Suite. So you're looking at about a 50%, just under a 50% premium, maybe a 45% increase for the cabins. Regular season, it's about $70 more a night. About a third again as much as the All-Star For peak season, it's $319. Again, roughly a third as much. And for holiday, it's $349 versus $259 at All-Star. So yeah, you're paying about a 33% premium to stay at Fort Wilderness. And the other thing about Fort Wilderness, it has all the amenities, has a little bit more storage. It doesn't have the 2 full baths though. That's probably really nice to have at the All-Star Suites.
Len, I don't have the information in front of me, but do you know if the peak season and value season for All-Stars and for Fort Wilderness are similar, or are they different this year?
I don't know. We'd have to go onto Mouse Savers and check. That's a good question, though.
Well, personally, I would rather spend the money at Fort Wilderness. I think if you're going to shell out that kind of money for a suite, I know the extra bath is nice, and that's a good point that you brought up, Len, but I still think that it's better to stay at Fort Wilderness than it is to stay at All-Stars.
Well, I think the food's better at Fort Wilderness. They definitely like Trails End. But transportation, I think, might be the issue.
That's true. There's the entire Fort Wilderness and the Wilderness Lodge both suffer from just really having problems with transportation getting anywhere.
Yeah, middle of nowhere.
But I'm just thinking, if you're going to go out spending that much, I'd rather be staying at a little bit nicer. You get the amenities of a deluxe resort, whereas at All-Star you're still stuck in a value resort setting.
Yeah, but 520 square feet. You could really spread out though for $169. To put this in perspective, in March we're staying at the Hotel Royal Plaza, and it's $159 a night, I think, when we're there, and it's not going to be 520 square feet. Granted, the rooms are going to be much nicer, but there's something to be said for some space, especially if you've got 4 kids.
It's a good
for
point.
The money, for the money and the 2 full baths and the beds and stuff, it doesn't sound like it's a bad deal.
Well, you're going to have to let me know how fluffy the pillows are, Len, because inevitably that's how I make my decisions about where I stay.
Exactly. It's all about pillow fluffiness. Right?
That's where it
Well,
counts.
yeah, we've actually booked one for our March trip coming up. So we'll do a full report when we get back.
Great. Well, seeing as it is still the month of February, we're doing...
That's right. We're doing a call-in show.
You're on the air.
We're doing all question shows. So if you have your own questions, please email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. Our first question is actually a comment. It's from Alan Huffman, who writes, "My favorite episode so far was the episode describing what all goes into researching the resorts of the unofficial guide. That was good info and is unique and not found elsewhere. Excellent." So Alan approved. That was the episode where Christina Testa appeared on the show.
Is that where she talked about throwing up on the bus? That was great.
Yes. Evidently, our listeners enjoy episodes where we talk about vomiting.
Because really, that's what the internet was made for. Thanks, Alan. Though, thanks for the comment.
Yep. And our next comment is from Susan Piper of Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, who writes, "I wanted to comment on the question on show number 50, in which Mary Waring of MouseSavers.com stated of the counter service restaurants had been removed from the Disney dining experience in 2006. I'm a pass holder and have a dining experience card, which we often use at Animal Kingdom and Pop Century Food Court. After the podcast, I immediately called the Disney Dining Experience Information Center that I found on the All Ears Net website to get the 2006 restaurant list. Good news, the cast member said that Disney decided not to remove any of the restaurants for 2006. All of the 2005 restaurants are still on the program for 2006. She said that they decided at the last minute not to remove any, just wanted to pass along this good news."
Cool. That's great. I think we talked about that in our Expedition Everest episode too. That
Yep.
because I used my DDE card at Flame Tree, so that's a good point, Susan.
We do actually have some real questions for you today. And the first question is from Brian Logan, who writes, "I've been to Walt Disney World Valley Resorts and I'm planning to stay at one of the moderate resorts. Which one do you recommend? I'm traveling with kids that will be 8 and 5 years old." Now, we tend to recommend, I think we're really high on the French Quarter Resort at Port Orleans. But for kids 8 and 5, that might not be the best recommendation.
That's true.
Did Brian say when he's going?
Yeah.
No, he did not indicate when he's going.
Yeah, it depends. If you're going during warmer months, I think people really like the pools at Port Orleans.
The problem with French Quarter, the reason I said that before, is that there's only one pool at French Quarter.
That's right. Whereas Riverside has.
Well, almost any other resort has more.
Yeah, but
more
still,
than a pool.
To be fair, the Riverside or the French Quarter pool is certainly large enough for the number of people there. It's a pretty big pool. It's got the slide.
That's true.
I mean, it's still well themed, and for the number of people that are going to be in the resort, remember it's only half as big as, it's less than half as big in terms of room numbers than Riverside. So, I like the if it's just a pool you're looking for. I like Coronado Springs. I like Coronado Springs as a resort anyway.
All right, I'll throw a vote in for the Caribbean because there's a pool at every village as well as a pool at Centertown, and for many people, they may prefer to have more pools at the resort because that would mean less people per pool, and they can keep their eye on the kids. So
yeah,
that's something to.
I would vote for Caribbean Beach also, Mike, because but my only hesitation about recommending Caribbean Beach is that if you're unfortunately stuck in one of the areas where you're about 3 miles away from the buses,
the food court, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can really be in a bind.
But Brian can ask for a room near, or you can request a specific country.
That's right.
So that's not terrible, and you can always give a backup too. And I think if you do a primary choice and a backup choice,
you said Martinique is the best choice.
Martinique is the best choice, but it is a preferred village in the Caribbean, and I believe it's approximately $10 more per night per room.
What's the next
than any other
one?
village? Oh boy, I was going to say. I want to say Barbados, but I'm not sure.
Where's the unofficial guide when you need it?
Isn't it Trinidad?
Is it Trinidad? It was one or the other. So.
It's south. Isn't it like South? I think South Trinidad is the closest.
Yeah, because it's Trinidad then Martinique, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think Caribbean Beach is probably his best overall choice, especially if you're driving, Brian. You can just take the car wherever you're going.
That's a good point. Ray Kastner writes, you guys have been ripping on Disney's PhotoPass recently, and I think that you guys are missing the point of the program. PhotoPass is not meant to take the place of taking your own photos and having them processed. Yes, that will be cheaper. PhotoPass is meant to make it easier for the Walt Disney World guests to view, and if they want, to purchase the pictures that Walt Disney World's Photographs takes, rather than stand in line at the parks to view and claim the pictures. What often happened with us is either we forgot to check the photos at the end of the day, or the lines were too long. With PhotoPass, I can see what was taken either at our hotel if we bring the laptop or when we get home. I can compare the pictures to what we took and choose a picture to buy that may have turned out better. I
don't think we didn't like the idea. It's the price, right?
Yeah, I think that's the only problem I have with the service.
Yeah, I mean, right. Your point is well taken on the photos and the variety. I just think it's the prices are hang up, right? Does anyone disagree?
No.
I think it's just ridiculously overpriced for the pictures.
It's $12 a photo, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's just. Okay, so your photo has Stitch coming out of a hat or something, or Simba in your hand,
Photoshop.
It's not like they're wasting. It's not like they're wasting film either. I mean, it's all digital photo now.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're wasting.
I mean, at $3 a photo, I could see the case. At $6, you'd get some grumbling. At $12, you'll get insults.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. I don't see the
unless the photo was
value proposition. But
unless the photo was amazing, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, and I tried it this last time when I was in the Animal Kingdom, and not a single photo came out well. Every single photo, without exception, was blurry. I don't know if it was just my preternatural good looks that screwed up the photographer. Or what.
They add little characters. They can put little things in the photo. Big deal.
Yeah, I understand the technology. Great idea about not waiting in line at the end of the day. Fantastic. It's strictly for me the issue's price.
Yep.
So other than that, I'm fine.
Well, Frank writes, I love Disney World. Oh, good, Frank. So do we. We tend to like it from time to time. And I am intrigued by all the secrets that are housed there. It's my understanding that Walt Disney had a private room in his apartment that when he was there, was able to spy on people sitting in the room by watching a television, which was showing images from a tiny hidden camera and a stuffed animal long before micro cameras were around. Is this true? Do they give access to this area to tour?
We really can't answer that because everybody who has found out that secret has been killed.
Yeah.
No!
It can't even be true anyway because Walt was never Disney
He was
World
dead?
wasn't open. Yeah, he was never open when he was alive.
Yeah.
But he did have an apartment in Disneyland in the castle. There is an unfinished apartment in Disney World in Cinderella's castle. Is that right?
I wouldn't call it an apartment so much as I would a torture chamber, but whatever. You know about the
Storage
fetish
room.
thing, right?
Yeah. That's for another show, man. After hours.
All right. What do the lawyers call?
Whips and chains at the Emporium.
Specifically.
Our next question comes from Kim, who writes... nope, we did Kim's question.
No, we've not.
What was the question?
Did we do it on a previous show?
No, I screwed up. Hold on.
Deja vu. This is it.
Well, our next question comes from Kim, who writes, last year I purchased a 10-day, non-expiring Hopper Magic Your Way ticket with 5+ options. I used 3 of the days and none of the plus options. I now find myself planning a trip this coming November and December and next May 2007, and I know I will be needing an annual pass. I also know I can't cash in my unused portion of my current pass until I get to guest relations at a park. My dilemma is how do I get annual pass discounts on my room and for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party without actually having the pass in my hands. At this point, I was thinking of just having a leftover ticket and buying an annual pass voucher at my local Disney store.
Do they still do tickets at the Disney store?
Yeah, they do.
They
It's,
do
Yeah,
Magic
they do.
Your
I don't
Way,
think they do APs, though, do they?
No, not APs. Definitely
no.
not APs.
No, they do tickets. They don't do APs. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's not a possibility.
All
we
right,
should always phone it in, right?
here's a solution. Here's a possible solution, Matt. Did she say she'd be traveling with her family?
She didn't say that, but it's probably a safe bet.
Well, she could just get an annual pass for herself and use the annual pass to get discounts on tickets and on the room, turn over the remainder of her Magic Your Way ticket to someone else.
Yeah.
What
And,
if the rest of her family has the same tickets? Like, they all... Inevitably, when you go down there, you buy the same tickets for everybody in your party.
Well, what you do is you use up that one, and then what you do is after you've used up everything on that one, then you just buy a replacement admission media that would mirror what everybody else has at that point in the trip. But her point, I think, was that she wants the best of both worlds, and if she has her own AP ticket, depending upon how many people and how many rooms she needs to book and all this stuff, and she could just get one annual pass and use that to gain discounts that she's looking for.
Okay. All right, that might be a possibility, but the generic thing is you've got an unused pass. You want to use some of the value that's left on it and prorate it against an annual pass and get the discounts before you get down there, right?
I think so.
So you're saying buy
That's
an
a good
annual
question.
pass when you're
Matt,
down
send
there?
send me the question. I'll call Disney tomorrow and ask them.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking... Yeah,
I don't think it's possible, but I think Disney might. I can't think of an obvious way to do it.
I think you could do it if you... Like, the most common annual pass discount that you get is for lodging, right?
Yeah.
If you booked it through a travel agent, a lot of times those things you just need to show your annual pass upon check-in. So if you get your annual, you could book it ahead of time and get the rates, but when you check in, just make sure you have it. Meaning you'd have to go to the.
I think now you actually need an annual pass number.
That
Do
is
you?
correct.
Yeah, because I had to give mine to Sue as a turtle from Small World.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, so much for that theory.
Yeah, and that's why. I mean, if you didn't need the number, like if you just could use the voucher or whatever,
Yep.
then that would be okay. I mean, alternatively, if you can do it with a voucher, and it might be convoluted, but you could buy the annual pass, get the voucher number, return the annual pass after you make the reservation, and then buy another annual pass when you get there.
It's a little
That sounds like a lot of
convoluted,
work. So let me call Disney.
All right. We'll hopefully get you an answer to that question, Kim. But coming up in the month of March, we've got a lot of great guests coming to the show, including Jim Hill of Jim Hill Media, Mary Waring of MouseSavers.com, Mark Goldhaber of, what's that site, Mike? Mouse World?
Something like that.
Galaxy, what is it?
I think it's Mouse Earth.
Mouse Earth. Dave Marks of Passporter, Chantel of DVCbyResale.com, the lovely Christina Testa, and we've also got shows that'll be covering Star Wars Weekend, Flower and Garden Festival, and much more. So be sure to tune in the month of March. The month of April, you can just turn us off because we're going to have nothing. Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode number 67 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Lanchester, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hodgberg. We'll see you on the next show.